Let's see the audio chain from the input to the output and the blocks you can find in between. We have 4 analog inputs, 4 Dante receivers, a player, and a generator for testing purposes. All of these inputs has its own filters, except the generator, and can be assigned to sources. We have 4 stereo sources, and in each source we assign a primary input and a secondary one if needed, working as a priority or backup signal. Sources are connected to the matrix that can work in 2 modes: as a mixer, creating an independent mix for each output of the matrix, or a zoner, so only one selection is possible for each output. The first 4 outputs of the matrix has its own processing, delay, filters, and limiters, and are then amplified. The last 2 have its own processing as well, delay and filters, and are the line-level auxiliary outputs. We have 4 Dante transmitters that can send to the network any of the signals that we have between the sources and the outputs. This selection is made individually for each transmitter. As you can see, this structure gives us a lot of flexibility. Let's see the physical connections. Let's see the back of the unit. We can see the 4 analog inputs, the micro SD slot for the player, and in net support we will find the 4 Dante receivers. Looking at the outputs, we find the 2 balanced line level auxiliary outputs, the 4 Dante transmitters, and the 4 amplified outputs. For these last ones, we have some deep switches to select the loads. This is one of the first things we will adjust before connecting the unit to match what we are going to connect. For example, now everything is in high impedance mode, 100-volt line. Let's change output 2 to low impedance 8 ohm. The group of switches in the right side are to select high or low impedance. So we have to change switch number 2 to low impedance. The group of switches in the middle are to select between 8 and 4 ohm. In this case, we will leave switch number 2 to 8 ohm as it's shown. This is another example configuring the switches for having output 3 as 4 ohm and output 4 to 2 ohm. Note that once 2 ohm is selected in the left switch, then what is selected in the middle group of switches is ignored if we are working in low impedance. But let's get back to the rear view to see the control ports. We can find external mute, which allows muting the audio outputs of the unit by means of a push button, relay, or external potential-free contact closure. 4 GPIs, where you can connect remote like WPA wall panel or similar. They can also be used as a contact closure to launch events. There are 4 GPOs. Each of these outputs can be changed by presets or event. And finally, 2 network ports that allow not only programming, management, and client devices, but also third-party integration throughout our open protocol TP net.